We all know that strength training is an essential part of a well-rounded exercise program. So why is it so hard to stick with it or get started at all? This is because we neglect to tailor our program around our individual needs and preferences. In this video, I'm going to cover 5 tips that are going to help you begin and maintain a resistance training program that you'll enjoy sticking with. So the first thing you want to consider are what the heck your goals are in this initiative in the first place. These will help you to direct your program. So whether this is building strength, maintaining functionality as we age, or perhaps it's to burn more calories in general and to maintain a lean, healthy body, to lose weight, to maintain weight, increase bone mass, confidence, whatever keeps you motivated through these workouts is going to be extremely beneficial in keeping you going week after week in the gym or at home or wherever it is that you prefer to work out. So as silly as it may be, get out a pen and paper, write these down so you have them and you will always know, why am I doing this? Why am I pushing myself to the point where I'm extremely uncomfortable in my body? I'm sore for days and I just keep going back and going back and going back and torturing myself over and over. First of all, we don't want this to be torture, and I'm going to talk further about that later in the video. But for instance, you have to anticipate being a little sore. That's going to happen. And you have to anticipate being a little uncomfortable. Any goal worth achieving is going to make you uncomfortable and make you work hard. Personally, I strength train for all of the above, but first and foremost, to maintain my strength and independence in and throughout my life. As a parent, as somebody who doesn't want to rely on their boyfriend for every little task that they want to take care of around the home, or carrying ridiculously heavy grocery bags. You guys know what I'm talking about because you are probably eating a very heavily plant-centered diet as well. So melons and giant bags of rice. We need the strength to carry out a plant-based diet, whether you're gardening or you are taking care of children. We all need to maintain our strength throughout our years, regardless of what stage you're at in your life. This is going to be important too. But also, strength training is so crucial for anybody who has lost weight or is trying to maintain weight loss or just maintain a lean, healthy body. Strength training is essential. We need that muscle to burn calories. And if you don't maintain that level of physical activity throughout each week, you're not going to be able to eat as many calories as you're used to. So if you have that reference of how much food you're supposed to take in on a given day, but if you're not fulfilling your daily expenditure through your physical activity, then you're just going to continue to gain weight year after year after year. And nobody wants that. That's not fun. Nobody wants the health consequences that follow along with that. So know your why going into strength training, just like any other endeavor in life. So the second thing you want to consider are what types of strength training do you enjoy? Not many people think of strength training as enjoyable, but I absolutely look forward to it every week. Some people prefer to use their own body weight. If that's you, maybe you're into Pilates and yoga and you just would rather utilize your own body mass than go out and lift some weights or move some resistance bands. Yoga and Pilates is perfectly fine as long as you are doing this regularly and at a high enough intensity where it actually puts that strain on your muscles. If we're not working our muscles efficiently and hard enough, we're not really doing much good. Or perhaps you're the type of person that enjoys group fitness classes. This was a part of my life for a number of years, and I enjoyed every bit of it because you become this sweet little community of people that are encouraging each other on and pushing each other when you can tell that the other one's just ready to give up. I love that sense of community and support around me when I'm trying to achieve something very difficult. But also it's fun to pair this with social activity. Because if you're really not enjoying strength training, maybe you just need to enlist a buddy and have them do it with you or get started in a course if you're comfortable being around more people. This even led me to becoming an instructor for a number of years. So just, keep an open mind around this because I never thought I would enjoy something so difficult and painful until I actually became a teacher and mastered the craft. So perhaps some of you are more intellectual in that way, and actually learning about it and perhaps teaching it is going to help you to understand it better and know what the heck you're doing with your muscles when you go to the gym or when you start working out at home. And that, of course, is the next option. Maybe you're a do-it-yourselfer and you just want to do it alone at home. That's perfectly fine too. Grab some equipment that you feel is going to be essential to whatever types of exercises you're going to want to carry out, and go to town. By all means, I work out everywhere, depending on what I have time for and where I'm at in my life. If I'm traveling, obviously I'm going to find a fitness center in the hotel or just work out in my hotel room, whatever it may be. If I'm snowed in, I'll work out at home. If I have the luxury, I'll go to the gym. Whatever I have access to and whatever I'm in the mood for is where I'm going to end up. So it's good to have options also. Or perhaps you're the type of person that just enjoys using workout videos. I used to do this constantly. Jillian Michaels was my go-to. It was really easy to follow along with and keep up with the exercises and see results rather quickly and definitely get my heart rate up. It was a great 30, 45-minute workout and you're done for the day. There's also things like Beachbody or free resources like YouTube. There are so many different influencers out there and resources at our fingertips that we can just click a button and follow along with. You are bound to find somebody that you resonate with. Another option, of course, would be to get a gym membership. This is definitely my preference simply because of all of the options available. But also you get into the gym and you just know, like, I'm here to work. I'm here to get something done. And you have all these other people around you doing the same thing and you're all kind of sharing the same energy. And it's just a really unique experience that I don't think you get at home by yourself or, in maybe a standard fitness class or something. I know gyms can feel a little intimidating for some people when they're just getting started or they feel they don't really know what they're doing in there, but I promise you, nobody's watching you. Everybody is paying attention to what the heck they're doing with their body on the machine they're on or with the free weights they're using. It's not as judgmental as people make it out to be. It's a very inclusive environment. And after you do this for a few weeks, you'll feel right at home. So it's just that newcomer, uncomfortable, uneasy feeling that we get when we walk into any new environment. So just know that this will pass and you'll feel right at home soon. And your confidence will improve too as you go along. So you have all of these different factors working in your favor. Okay, the last option would be to get a trainer. And this is perfectly fine, especially for somebody who is just starting out and they don't really know the techniques and you're trying to, maintain your range of motion and you don't want to be walking around with a limp or some kind of injury that you weren't anticipating, then maybe a trainer is not such a bad idea. Yes, this is an investment, but just know that many gyms, when you first sign up, will give you 1 or 2 sessions with a trainer for free. So that's always helpful. I always take advantage of that just so I can learn new exercises and new points of view and new ways to maybe use the gym equipment that I wasn't aware of, or just some tips and tricks that you're not always thinking about or you haven't come across in your own experience. So don't neglect the possibility of using a trainer, at least in the short term, to get your bearings. And if this is something that you need long term as a personal focus, then so be it. Maybe it's an investment you're willing to look into. The next consideration is, what do you have access to? Do you own a bunch of home gym equipment? Are you willing to purchase these? What's your budget? The bare minimum I always recommend are having some kind of bench or exercise ball to be able to lay back on or lay on top of and just get certain angles that you otherwise wouldn't get if you were just laying on the floor. You're also going to need either some free weights or some resistance bands or both. Resistance bands are rather cheap, but they are getting a little more costly these days. So you might want to look into the different varieties. But I definitely recommend long bands, figure 8 bands, and O-rings like these. And they come in different colors for the different resistance. So make sure you get a variation. Start with the lighter ones, of course, and work your way up. Also, if you are going to get weights, make sure you start small and work your way up. So maybe 5s, even 3s for some people might be helpful in the beginning. But I would recommend having 1 set of lighter weights and 1 set of heavier weights just to get started. We have 10s, 15s, and 20s, but I would very much recommend getting an 8 or a 5 in there somewhere, depending upon your level of training at the moment. Kettlebells are really useful, as well as stability balls or medicine balls. All of these things can be incorporated at a rather cheap cost. But if you want to go all out and you really want to make this a standard practice, then absolutely look into some kind of like total body gym or some type of full body equipment that comes with the whole package, all the bells and whistles. You're more likely going to get use out of it if you invest the money beforehand. Other people already have access to these things in their community fitness center if they live in some kind of condo or apartment complex or gated community. These can be really useful too, and depending upon where you live, these can be either very inclusive with many different machines and different options, or it can have a small variety of equipment. Either way, it's somewhere to get started, and maybe you feel more comfortable there than going full blown out into a gym membership in the public at the moment, especially with COVID going on and all that jazz. But if you are ready, I highly recommend just going ahead and getting that gym membership. We sign a 2-year contract every year at our favorite gym. Unfortunately, it's almost a half an hour away, but it's so worth it just to have that daycare, first and foremost, the free daycare. Absolutely look for that if you are a parent. But also, I believe we pay $75 a month for all 3 of us, for my toddler, my boyfriend, and myself to go to the gym every month. So they have an indoor-outdoor pool, water park, racquetball course, basketball court. They have cycling, they have group fitness classes, they have yoga, they have tennis. So it's anything and everything you can imagine for a gym. So just do some research, look around in the area. I hear Planet Fitness is still doing those $10 a month memberships. How can you possibly say no to that? It's just good to know that we have options, right? And lastly, always remember that we have access to home videos and YouTube videos, all sorts of different resources that we haven't always had in our immediate access. And many of these things are free. So there really is no excuse around finding a strength training regimen that really works for your individual needs and preferences. Another thing you want to keep in mind are your personal limitations. Do you have any old injuries or new injuries, weak or painful joints, a history of surgical procedures in a certain area? Did you have a hip replaced or a shoulder or a knee? Do you have any muscle strains or fractures or breaks? Anything in your past that you can think of or in your present that is causing you discomfort, perhaps it's good to get your doctor's go-ahead before you start engaging in any sort of strength training regimen. But also just to know your general options and range of motion. It's important to communicate with your physical therapist or your doctor to know, what am I allowed to do? What are the exercises that are still going to benefit me without injuring me further in the process? Perhaps your biggest limitation is that you're just completely new to strength training, and that's okay. We all start somewhere. I had no clue what I was doing as a teenager, going to the gym and just hopping on any machine that I found along the way, or following tips that I read in magazines. Yes, I'm dating myself. I used to read magazines to get my fitness advice. So just think of strength training as a skill, not unlike any other skill, where you aren't very good at it in the beginning and you have to practice and build your repertoire around the general skill acquisition before you can feel like you've really mastered the task at hand. Just like cooking, just like parenting, just like relationships, anything that we do in life that's worthwhile is going to be very difficult and complicated in the beginning. So feeling new and awkward is totally fine. Nobody cares. Again, they're all focused on what they're doing. Nobody's going to look down upon you for not knowing exactly what you're doing with your strength training. At least you're trying. That's a lot more than a lot of people are doing. And like I mentioned, there are so many resources at our fingertips these days that you really can't call yourself a newbie very long. Within weeks, you'll get a grasp for what you're doing and you'll no longer be new. Before you know it, you'll be helping others with the same task. Or perhaps your limitation is simply a time constraint. This is probably the biggest concern for people, is that they don't know where the heck they can squeeze this into their schedule. The good news is this doesn't take long. 30 minutes to an hour twice a week is all that's recommended, including a warm-up and a cool-down. As long as you're working all 8 major muscle groups once per week, that's really all your body needs. So those would consist of your shoulders, your biceps, your triceps, your back, your chest, your glutes, your hamstrings, and your quads. That's really doable for most people. I like to split this into upper and lower body sessions twice per week. I feel like it just works best for my lifestyle and my abilities to take a couple days off and rest in between sessions. So get out your planner and figure out exactly where you can fit this into your schedule before you ever get started. This way you'll have a set plan ahead of time, knowing when you're going to work out, where you're going to work out, and how you're going to work out. You're so much more likely to do it if you put the effort into the logistics. The final tip is to have realistic expectations. So many people give up on any kind of exercise regimen simply because they don't see the scale moving. But that should not be the only marker of our success. You will feel different in your body. You will see a different reflection. You will feel greater confidence and ease of achievement. It's a process. It's not going to be an overnight quick fix. It's not some fad diet that you're trying to use to squeeze into a wedding dress or something. You have to look at this as a long-term game. But typically, you can anticipate about a 6-week duration before you start seeing outward results. So before you start noticing that you're losing inches or that you're getting a little more toned in certain areas or your face is thinning out. These are things that are very much looked forward to, but they shouldn't be your underlying goal. The improvements in your appearance will come with time. You just have to keep being consistent. Consistency is always key with an exercise regimen. You also get out of it what you put into it. So if you are missing sessions week after week and you're only putting in 15 minutes as opposed to 40, you're not going to get the benefit of your efforts if you don't push yourself. Try to get those full 30 minutes to an hour twice a week and try not to miss sessions. And if you do miss a session, just make one up. It's okay to go a few days off plan or something. As long as you're able to fit it back in later in the week, you'll get the same benefits. If you feel yourself slipping, just get back on track, just like with your diet or any other healthful habit. Things come up in life. Yes, we move, we get new jobs, we get married, we have children. All of these things may set back our fitness to some extent, but don't let it slide for too long because it gets harder and harder to get back on track. Research shows that after missing just 2 weeks of strength training, your gains have been diminished by 60%. That statistic is held in the back of my mind very firmly to the point where I will never miss 2 weeks in a row, ever. I can't even remember the last time I let that happen. So whatever motivates you, just hold that where it's important. Another big tip is to not overdo it, especially in the beginning. If you're a newcomer or if you're just trying a brand new exercise for the first time, just keep in mind that you're going to be sore the next 2 to 4 days. And the level of soreness is going to depend on your level of effort in the gym. So this depends on the heaviness of the weight, the frequency of the movement, and the frequency of the exercise, meaning how many repetitions and how many times per week you're doing this. So just feel this out. Be kind to your body with any new exercise program. Start slow and gradual and work your way up. There's nothing shameful in starting with lighter weights. Personally, I always use lighter weights because I feel that I get injured less if I do more repetitions by using lighter weights. And that's perfectly fine. What if you have time, because it does take me rather closer to 2 hours. Preferably in the gym, doing upper and then another 2 hours for lower body. So this tends to take more time in your schedule, but this is important to me. This is something that I want to maintain lifelong, and I really enjoy doing it. So I don't mind putting in those extra repetitions and using a lighter weight to make sure I don't get injured. Sometimes I still get injured using the lighter weights, so just, keep your mind open. I also think this is easier to maintain if you think about the health benefits versus like the superficial bodybuilding aspects. Like you don't have to go all out in every gym session. If you're not feeling it, just do a lighter session. This is not something that you need to have a bikini beach body as a result of each session. This is something that you want to do at a light enough degree where you can still enjoy what you're doing. You're not going to come back to the gym if you feel like you're being tortured and you're in pain all the time. So just maintain a level that will result in benefits, but not necessarily deter you from maintaining that consistency. And if you do find yourself having problems with this week after week and you find yourself struggling on your own, just know that this is something that I work on with my clients every time I work with somebody. I like to incorporate a strength training regimen and we build a program tailored to their individual needs and preferences. So make sure you click the link in the description box below if you want to schedule a free consultation to get started on that. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful. I also have 2 at-home upper and lower body videos that you can watch as examples, or I have 2 gym workouts that also split the upper and the lower body. So whatever your preference, whether you're working out at home with minimal equipment or if you're working out in the gym with machines galore, then this will give you an opportunity to break down all 8 major muscle groups in the ways that are most beneficial for weight loss and weight maintenance, but also for maintaining health. So I hope this video was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next one.